This is CBC Here and Now.
Well, temperatures are warming up through the weekend, but there's still some snow in the forecast.
If we don't push on with creating the office and improving the environment, that the industry will at best stagnate and most likely decline.
So that's how you get an excellent crew. There has to be reliable, sort of continuous employment.
He was a leader in the province's film and television industry for decades.
News of Paul Pope's death today is still sinking in for many people.
This church has been a Catholic place of worship here in Portugal Cove for more than a century.
This church is beautiful. It gives great glory to God. It was built of a labor love by the people.
Now, as the Archdiocese goes through insolvency, there's a movement underway to transform this sanctuary into a center for arts and culture. I'm Terry Roberts. We'll have that story coming up on Here and Now.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Anthony Germain.
And I'm Carolyn Stokes. This province has lost one of its leaders in the film and television industry.
The force behind Pope Productions, who helped launch hundreds of projects, including Hudson and Rex, Rare Birds, and Life with Derek.
Paul Pope's family says he died peacefully this morning. Peter Cowan has more.
If you don't recognize Paul Pope, you probably recognize some of the shows he's produced.
Hudson.
Hudson and Rex is his latest hit, the crime-fighting cop and dog duo seen in 100 territories around the world.
Rex dovrebbe essere già qui. È un cane in gamba.
Whether it's a crime TV series, a horror movie, or a film about pilots in the Second World War, Pope always developed Newfoundland and Labrador talent, like Alan Hocko and Mark Critch, long before they were household names. Pope's productions were always uniquely Newfoundland.
Ferry Command is probably one of the greatest untold war stories of Canadian and Newfoundland history. I mean, it's astounding what was accomplished here, and it's astounding how little is known about it.
He's worked on hundreds of movies and TV shows. Along the way, he always worked to develop the industry, even back in the 1990s when it was still in its infancy.
If we don't push on with creating the office and improving the environment, that the industry will at best stagnate and most likely decline.
Governments listened and the industry grew. Last year, for the first time, film and television production was worth $100 million to the province. Even as Pope took on bigger projects, he always had time to mentor and help the industry, whether it was new actors or a class of 8-year-olds.
So these walk along. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Okay, and then at second position, they get attacked by the Neopets. Is this it?
One of the last projects before his death, a new training center, a vision of his for years and announced just yesterday. It will develop and train a new generation of filmmakers. He couldn't make it there in person.
So I'm going to get to Paul's words because he's worked pretty hard for this day, and I do appreciate everything he's done. From Paul, film and television is an international business that is extremely competitive and mobile. Regardless of where a show is set, its actual filming location can be almost anywhere. Experience shows that when industry, unions, and government work together, production likes it. This college we are announcing here today is a perfect example of that cooperation in play.
He leaves behind family and friends who are devastated with the loss and an industry stronger for his contributions. Peter Cowan, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, imagine going shopping on your employer's dime, getting caught, and then keeping your job. That scenario may seem unrealistic, but new documents obtained by CBC News reveal that can happen, and it did, all using taxpayer-funded credit cards. The provincial government says it has the money back, but one fraud expert says that's not good enough. Ariana Kelland has this CBC Investigates report.
Some civil servants are given these travel cards for corporate purchases. But since 2015, over $600,000 has been swiped away in personal spending and withdrawn right from under the government's nose.
A year and a half ago, an employee with the Executive Council had been reported for taking over $130,000. The next year, a different civil servant in the same department had nearly $5,000 on their card. Similar problems at the Department of Fisheries, Forestry, and Agriculture. 7 employees there racked up more than $170,000 between them on cash advances and charges in a 5-year span. 9 employees of the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure collectively put more than $200,000 on their credit cards. Tens of thousands of dollars were also spent by employees of the Department of Industry, Energy and Technology and at Service NL. The majority of government departments had reported suspected fraud, some in the hundreds, most in the thousands. The government has a zero-tolerance fraud policy, but aside from 1 employee, everyone kept their jobs. The money was repaid and the police weren't notified.
So that means that you're basically saying it's an open book. Steal as much as you like, and if we catch you, we'll ask you to pay back, which is completely the wrong message that you want to send to everybody in the department.
Oswald says this kind of white-collar crime isn't unusual in Canada. Neither is the lack of tough punishment.
You go into Sobeys and you steal a loaf of bread and you're on the front page of the newspaper the next day. You steal $1 million from a company and you might not even be reported to the police force.
So how can this much money be spent before someone notices?
It gets to that point because there isn't adequate control.
In a statement, Finance Minister Siobhan Cody says the problems were detected, and since then, stronger oversight measures have been put in place to prevent it from happening again. As for firing employees or going to police, Cody says the circumstances of each case were looked at individually. Ariana Kelland, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, after lots of gray skies, we finally saw a little bit of blue sky this afternoon thanks to a ridge of high pressure in that area of low pressure moving further east and a little bit less wind as well, certainly as we head through the night tonight. But the good news is that the temperatures over the long weekend looking pretty nice. They should hover anywhere from 5 to 11 degrees as we get into Saturday, even into Sunday, those double-digit temperatures. But the bad news is that overnight Friday into Saturday, that area of low pressure I was talking about over Manitoba is headed towards our way, and there's some snow possible for parts of Labrador as well as the island. Accumulations maybe 5 to 10 centimeters. But like I said, not going to last too long thanks to those double-digit temperatures. I'll have the full forecast coming up.
Thanks, Ashley. Some sad stories now. A Second World War veteran and a war bride both died on the same day. Ida Mary Leonard was a war veteran and proud Scottish war bride who came to the province after the war. Well, she died on Tuesday. She was born in 1921 in Scotland. She served in the Royal Air Force before she moved to this province. Joseph Piercy also died on Tuesday at the age of 95. He also served in the Second World War, joining the Merchant Marines when he was just 17 years of age. Each year, he took part in the Remembrance Day ceremonies, as you see there, standing and proudly saluting. He was a lifelong volunteer. In 2018, he was given the St. John's Senior of the Year Award.
Well, it has stood as a landmark in Portugal Cove for more than a century. Now, Holy Rosary Catholic Church is at the center of a debate over its sale and future use. And as Terry Roberts reports, it's stoking memories of a dark chapter in the province's history.
It's the final days of Lent, and Michelle Martin and her son John are praying before the Stations of the Cross, a solemn observance that's been happening for decades here at Holy Rosary Church.
And blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
But these prayers are not just about Christ's suffering in the desert.
It's extremely difficult for the people.
Michelle Martin is also hoping for divine intervention to save this historic church.
This church is beautiful. It gives great glory to God. It was built of a labor love by the people.
The church is part of an unprecedented property sell-off by the Archdiocese as it attempts to settle millions in claims by victims of abuse at the hands of priests and Christian brothers. And part of that painful past is connected to Holy Rosary because convicted abuser Jim Hickey once served as parish priest. It was Hickey's arrest in the 1980s for molesting young boys that ignited a scandal that rocked the church, with the fallout still being felt in every corner of the Archdiocese.
It's a beautiful site. Fantastic view of the bay.
Prospective buyers have until June 2nd to submit a bid on the property, and there's interest. A new and influential Arts, Wellness, and Heritage Committee wants to purchase the church and transform it into a community center.
We're hoping we'll find some people, philanthropists, others who would want to contribute, because I think the building being repurposed to this better purpose might be a way of healing and making things better here in Portugal Cove, St. Philip's.
The committee wants the town council to pay for an appraisal and a structural assessment to help determine the property's value, up to $12,000. A majority of council appears to be on board, but not everyone.
There may be other groups out here, say parishioners, who also want to purchase this property. Are we going to say no to them? Or if we say yes to this group, we have to treat everybody equally.
The committee also wants the town to designate the church a heritage property. Again, Gavin Will disagrees.
I am afraid that if this building is designated a heritage property, this will limit the attractiveness of the property to potential buyers, and therefore this will negatively affect the amount of money that victims could receive. It's true that the church has a long and proud history, but we simply cannot get away from the fact that this was ground zero for the sexual abuse scandal that erupted in the mid-1980s.
Caught in the middle.
Jesus lives in the Blessed Sacrament in the tabernacle there, and that's a huge part of why it should remain as God's house.
Churchgoers like Michelle Martin.
And I know that the victims must be, have suffered tremendously in their lives, and we pray for them all the time. But this is a suffering for all the Catholic people too, an unbelievable suffering.
The Catholic Church has had a presence on this site since the 1830s, and the current church was opened in 1915, built by locals before the days of power tools and modern construction techniques. The parish is still active, but like most churches, its congregation has shrunk dramatically over the years, with the pandemic also keeping many of the faithful away. The big question now, what will become of Holy Rosary Church?
Here's some facts. This will be sold. And I think the community sees it may be the best outcome for the building, to have it come back to the community as an arts and cultural centre for the community, a place of commemoration. I think that is the best outcome, is the perspective I get from speaking with Father Walcher and some of the parishioners in the community.
There's plenty of chatter in this community that the parish has run out of money and that the final church service will take place on Easter Sunday. Now, I asked Archbishop Peter Hunt if that's accurate. He told me in an email that he's been assured by the parish priest that Sunday services will continue here at Holy Rosary, at least for the foreseeable future. Terry Roberts, CBC News, Portugal Cove, St. Philip's.
The two Nova Scotia police officers who stopped a killer's rampage 2 years ago have given a gripping account of that weekend in April 2020. The RCMP constables were testifying at the inquiry into the murders of 22 people. Blair Rhodes reports, but first a warning, some will find the details disturbing.
Constables Craig Hubley and Ben McLeod started their hunt for the gunman in Portapic. Hubley was there with his police dog the morning of April 19th. McLeod had arrived around midnight and was one of the first officers to speak with the gunman's partner, Lisa Banfield, who'd spent the night hiding in the woods.
Once I made contact with her and saw how distraught she was and scared, just scared to be out in the open. She wanted immediately to get into our truck. She thought he was out there searching for her.
As he searched Portapic, Hubley encountered a dog the gunman had wounded. Even 2 years on, the memory left the Mountie shaken.
What struck me was just how intent he was on causing harm, I guess. That he would shoot a dog. It meant nothing.
Hubley and McLeod ended up riding together in Hubley's van, following the trail of new murders they were hearing on the radio. They felt the gunman was headed to Dartmouth, where he had a home and business. They raced up the highway, trying to get ahead of him. Hubley says they were getting low on gas, so he pulled into the big stop in Enfield. As he got out of his SUV, Hubley noticed the man sitting in a car at the next pump.
I think I've used the word animal to describe him, like whether he had lost a fight or had just finished a big one, is how he looked. He was breathing heavy. He had a bump on his head. There was blood coming from it. And what struck me the most in that quarter of a second was that he had a wound that he wasn't addressing.
Hubley recognized the gunman from pictures he'd studied that morning. He called out to McLeod, and at that sound, he saw the gunman raise his right arm with a pistol.
I believed he was going to try to shoot either myself or Craig, and I made the decision to start shooting him.
They didn't stop shooting until they felt he was no longer a threat. McLeod says he and Hubley are uncomfortable with all the attention they've received for what they did that day.
It's been 2 years of grieving with Nova Scotians, with the families that are here, the families of victims, and we lost one of our own too with Heidi. Life will never be the same for us either.
Blair Rhodes, CBC News, Halifax.
RCMP fire investigators are trying to determine the cause of 2 fires in Sheshatshiu this week. There were no injuries, but several people lost their homes in the 2 fires. 4 apartments there were damaged. The 2 of them were destroyed by fire. Smoke and water damaged the other 2. The Canadian Red Cross is helping out and says a dozen people were displaced and 1 was taken to hospital. Now, the other fire was at this house on Beach Road. Police were on the ground yesterday at the site of both fires, but say they're not yet in a position to determine if the causes of the fires are suspicious. The Red Cross is helping people with emergency purchases, but they're not the only ones. Donations are being organized by several people in Labrador who are trying to help out.
A provincial athlete received a big welcome today at the Confederation Building. Liam Hickey won the silver medal with the Canadian para-hockey team at the 2022 Winter Paralympic Games in Beijing, and today he was honored by several provincial politicians.
He really needs no introduction at all. Please put your hands together to congratulate Liam Hickey and his teammates on their silver medal win for Team Canada at the 2022 Paralympic Winter Games.
As Bridges, button curls back around. Oh no.
What does the word Olympian actually mean? Para is a Greek word for besides. The other definition that came up was beyond. And that's how I see a para-Olympian. They go beyond what the typical or normal athlete does, because what they have to do is not only excel in their sport, they have to excel with a, quote, disability or handicap, however one wants to define it. Words I don't like to use, but I'm just trying to reflect on what it means for Liam and his team and all the Paralympians to actually thrive and survive and really show what sportsmanship and athleticism is all about. So Liam, when I now think of you in the para world, it's beyond. You're beyond, and you're beyond a normal athlete. You are a super athlete.
Look at this, look at this, look at this. And then boom.
We're all behind you. We're all following everything you do. I was thinking about what it would take to achieve some of the success. I can't even imagine. Obviously hardworking, persistent. And I think as Newfoundland and Labradorians, we have a lot of stubbornness and grit. I imagine that kind of helped you as well. I can't imagine, though.
He's a great spokesperson for himself, for his family, for his community, for his sport, and for his colleagues. So I expect to see and hear a lot from him in the future.
It means a lot to be here today, with my family, my amazing girlfriend, all the work that they've done behind the scenes to allow me to do this and chase my dreams. And the support that I felt from Newfoundland and Labrador, all the way over in Beijing was incredible. Checking social media every day and just seeing that, getting special messages from people I didn't even know. So this means more than anyone will know to me today. To be able to, win a silver medal, not only for Canada, but for Newfoundland and Labrador and all the people and friends and family that have done so much to support me.
Yeah,
nice.
Well done.
Well, tomorrow, Anthony, is Good Friday, and we should mention that Here and Now won't be on the air tomorrow. We will be back on Monday, though.
Yeah, and speaking of, what's Good Friday without an appropriate feed of one of the province's tastiest time-honored traditions?
Of course. We stopped by 2 popular fish and chip shops to see how they're preparing for their biggest day of the year amid pandemic-induced shortages and rising supply costs.
Good Friday is our biggest day of the year. There's no doubt about it. A lot of prep goes into it. We spend a lot of time planning, getting ready for it, and we're certainly excited for this year. We are estimating we're going to do between 1,200 and 1,500 pounds of fish and about 3,500 pounds of potatoes.
It was a busy day. We're all tired at the end of it, but it's fun. You know, the customers are great. All my cooks are in all the locations today, prepping up all the fish, so tomorrow morning is just come in and get it ready and start cooking.
It's a full-blown production facility back there right now. So we've got prep cooks working double duty in both kitchens, just getting ready. 9 o'clock tonight when we serve our last customer, both kitchens will be right back to prep, and that'll continue all night long. You know, we're definitely facing rising costs, but that's everyone across the board. We were thankful, you know, we've got some pretty good suppliers who look after us. We're loyal to them and they're loyal to us. So thankfully we were able to source everything we needed. We didn't have to look for any substitutions or anything like that, and we have no shortages, so we are ready.
Oh, pricing is going through the roof. The pricing of all the products are going up. Pricing of all the shipping to get we live on an island, so to get all the products in, the shipping has gone up from my distributor. I get notices. They keep us all in the loop, but you know, there's not much you can do. So, and pricing is going up. Fish is going up.
It starts with those locally sourced products. You know, we buy our potatoes from Ziggy Peel Goods. We cut our own fries by hand, but they're our main supplier. You know, we source only the best fish from right here on the island. And, you know, it comes from over 60 years of traditional family recipes.
A lot of love. A lot of love, a lot of care. You start off with great product, of course, right? The best fish that we can find, you know. Fresh is always best, but this time of the year you can't get fresh. There is a shortage of fish actually right now, so it's a bit challenging getting it, but we've got some really great product. I love it. It's the best day of the year. Everybody thinks Christmas is the best day of the year. I think Good Friday is the best day of the year. It's a lot of fun. Everybody's happy. I love seeing the customers. You know, it's a lot of fun. It's a major tradition in my world.
Well, doesn't that just look delicious? Beautiful outside as well. Finally seeing some sunshine. It's going to stick around for parts of the weekend, but there is some snow in the forecast as well. I'll break the full forecast down coming up.
This weather update is brought to you by the Healthcare Foundation Home Lottery. Early bird deadline is midnight, Friday, May 6th. Order tickets now at hcfhomelottery.ca.
Well, it may look like an icy crossing here on the Strait of Belle Isle, but according to Labrador Marine, fewer crossings were canceled this winter compared to previous years.
Yeah, this was taken on the Kayak W between St. Barb and Blanc-Sablon earlier this month, and that's the Terry Fox breaking the ice ahead.
Yeah, Labrador Marine says it's not over, though. There's still heavy Arctic ice moving into the straits, but they don't think it will cause many cancellations in the coming weeks. That is a lot of ice.
It's a lot of ice.
Yeah.
Certainly compared to last year.
Yep.
Where there was nothing.
So here we are, long weekend this weekend. How are things looking?
We're warming up, which is nice. You know, we've been seeing a lot of those gray skies, cooler temperatures thanks to those onshore winds. One more day of that today, obviously, those cooler temperatures, but there's a little bit of a warm up. Let's take a look at where we sat for a good chunk of the afternoon. 2 degrees in St. John's, although once that sun came out, it felt a lot nicer. And then those temperatures significantly warmer for the southern Avalon. Cape Race reached a high near 8 degrees, 9 in Marystown today. Same thing for Badger, Deer Lake around 8 degrees. And then temperatures up across Labrador, even Lab City, reaching a high near +5 this afternoon. So certainly some nicer temperatures. They've dropped a little bit in some cases, down to 0 in Bonavista, feeling more like -8 with that wind chill. Temperatures for Winterland now sitting at 5 degrees. 4 in Stephenville, still sitting at 5 degrees in Lab City right now, but those temperatures along the coast have dropped now as well, down to the -single digits. Those wind chills feeling more like the -teens. Now the reason for that is still that area of high pressure, rather low pressure to the east, but that ridge of high pressure is in place now, which is why we saw some of that sunshine earlier today for most areas. And the winds are right now around 40 to 50 kilometers per hour. And then as we head through the night tonight, the good news is that we are going to start to see those winds ease. You can see not a whole lot of wind activity under that ridge of high pressure, but taking a look at the future cast, that those winds are definitely going to ease, certainly as we head into tomorrow afternoon, and then the winds will ramp back up again as we head through Friday night into Saturday. Winds gusting in some cases upwards of 60, even 70 kilometers per hour, and that's ahead of our next system that is potentially going to bring some snow for parts of the province. So tonight, just looking at the potential for a few showers sticking around and or flurries. Overall, not a whole lot happening though. Some flurry activity possible up across Labrador, but we should actually see those skies stay generally clear as we head through tonight. Temperatures will dip though, and that's because of those clear skies. So sitting anywhere from -1 to about -8, the lower lying areas is where we should see the coolest temperatures overnight. The winds will be out of the northwest still, about 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. Temperatures much cooler along coastal areas of Labrador, though. You're looking about -13 for Cartwright, -12 for Nain, and then the temperature going down to about -6 for Lab City overnight tonight. Now tomorrow, the system is going to move in from Manitoba, and that is going to bring some snow for at least Lab West through the first half of tomorrow. Ridge of high pressure still going to dominate it, so it's actually going to be a beautiful day for a good chunk of the island tomorrow. That snow will move in and spread further east through the afternoon, and then we're going to watch that system start to affect the island, and those will be in the later hours tomorrow night. Briefly starting as some snow, it should change over fairly quickly for the southern areas of the island, but through central parts of the west coast, northern peninsula, you're going to see that snow accumulate fairly quickly into the overnight and into Saturday morning. Now, by the time mid-morning rolls through, all of that precipitation should end, and then actually sun should come out through the day. So as far as accumulations, we're talking about 5 to 10 centimeters. Temperatures are going to play a big role in this, likely starting as really, really wet snow. So it should tamper some of this accumulation that you're seeing, that 10 to 15. You may see close to 10, but some pockets of a little bit higher than that, but it shouldn't be very widespread. And the good news is the temperatures are climbing. That snow shouldn't last very long. So temperatures for tomorrow will sit in the single digits, mid-single digits, even more as you head towards central. Beautiful afternoon expected. Those winds shifting to the southeast about 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. Northern Peninsula, you're looking at temperatures a bit cooler, only hovering around 1 degree, but pretty nice up across Labrador as well, except you'll see that snow starting in Lab City. So that's a look at the first part of the forecast. I'll have the rest of it coming up.
Well, a St. John's musician received high praise after being showcased on a national talent competition this week. Kelly Loader performed a rendition of Adele's song To Make You Feel My Love for their audition on Canada's Got Talent. We caught up with Kelly Loader to hear about the experience.
Hello. Welcome to Canada's Got Talent. What's your name?
My name's Kelly Loader.
Kelly, where are you from?
I'm from Newfoundland.
Woo, 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 Newfoundland! Why are you here tonight?
I'm here to blow some minds.
Yeah!
It's not something I honestly never thought I would do it, but like it's honestly been the best decision I've made.
When the rain is falling in your face
I love that song. Well, I mean, I sing it really well. When I sing it, I feel the whole thing. So I would never, especially being a songwriter, choose to do a cover song for that first audition and do something I didn't love. I just felt like it was a relatable song. People know the song. They can sing along to it. And evidently they did at the end of it. Obviously, like if I wasn't nervous at all, I wouldn't be a human. But it was, I knew that I had an idea that they would be impressed because I'm great at what I do and I deserve to be on, that stage. I do have a bit of a name in Newfoundland, but on a national level, like I don't feel like I've totally reached it. And so that's why I made the decision to go on a show like this. And evidently it's, my followers from yesterday on Facebook alone just went up by like thousands.
Wow.
And yeah, it's incredible to watch the growth and just strangers reaching out opposed to like somebody I went to school with or somebody who knows my mom. It's very cool. It's very cool.
Newfoundland is so warm and welcoming. Everywhere you show up, everyone has a guitar. It's like this universal hub of home.
You always worry about how your story's gonna be, covered in terms of like how it's gonna be cut and like, because there's only like so much time, the photos they use and stuff like. I couldn't have been happier with how they presented it. I felt like it was really authentically me, and that's what I wanted.
I'd even go to the ends of the earth for you to make you feel my love.
I can't disclose what happens now, actually. It's sort of, I'm sort of sworn to secrecy in sort of a way. But it's going to be exciting, so I can tell you that much.
Canada is deploying troops to Poland to help with the growing waves of refugees who are fleeing the war in Ukraine.
I am announcing today the deployment of up to 150 Canadian Armed Forces personnel, with approximately 100 personnel in the immediate term, who will assist Poland's efforts to support and care for Ukrainians fleeing violence.
Now, the troops will assist at reception centers inside Poland and provide some limited medical care. They will also support a Polish-led task force with humanitarian work and help with resettling Ukrainians here in Canada. The UN says nearly 5 million people have left Ukraine and more than half of those people have gone to Poland. The Canadian military is addressing a controversy stemming from soldiers who've received criminal convictions. And this has to do with character references. Those are statements given during sentencing, ones that are written by fellow soldiers. The CBC's Ashley Burke now with the details.
It's absurd.
It's unbelievable.
Retired Army officers Annalise and Kevin Shamoon spoke out a year ago about the damage and betrayal a positive character reference caused them.
For me, reading these words, it's beyond unacceptable.
Positive character references on behalf of a soldier found guilty of sexually assaulting his wife, Annalise Shamoon, written by a senior leader of Kevin Shamoon's own regiment and another senior leader in his chain of command, Major General Peter Daw. The judge considered those letters when giving the offender probation rather than jail time. Now, in response to CBC News coverage of their story, the military is issuing a new guidance to members that if they choose to write these letters, it's as an individual, not on behalf of the military, and should take into consideration if it will create a conflict of interest, how it will impact the victim, and the use of military letterhead is not allowed.
This policy went as far as it could legally. I think that it could have gone further in explaining the difference between moral justice and legal justice.
Some wanted the military to outright ban character references.
These letters are not victim-centric. They take the attention directly away from the victim and they focus on the perpetrator and try and create sort of a sense of the perpetrator being a good person.
That recently played into the high-profile court case of retired Chief of Defense Staff General Jonathan Vance. He pleaded guilty to obstruction of justice. His lawyer submitted 7 positive character references from retired military members. The judge said the references were one factor he took into consideration when granting Vance a conditional discharge rather than a criminal conviction. But the military says legally it can't ban members from providing these references.
That would have been the subject of a constitutional challenge because it would have infringed on the person's right to fair trial.
The Defense Department says the military took an extensive approach to balance the need of victims, the rights of the accused, and the rule of law when making these new guidelines. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
So why did you decide to be the Easter Bunny?
My mom always wanted me to go to the Easter Bunny since it's shut down at the mall because of COVID. So now we're doing it. We just want kids to still do it and don't want them to miss out.
Did you build this by yourself or did you have help?
No, my mom did.
Well, it looks amazing.
How does it make you feel when you're making other kids happy?
I just like doing it because, and it's important, I love when they leave and they say they don't want to. Sometimes they bring me pictures, and one time we had this kid, he could not stop like running and hugging me.
Have you thought about doing any other holidays besides Easter?
We're thinking about it. We have a Grinch costume, but we might get a Santa costume.
That's adorable. That was a 12-year-old Dylan Thomas Palmer of St. John. Thanks to our colleagues at CBC New Brunswick for that.
Yeah, Dylan will likely have a very busy weekend now that he's in that bunny costume.
Yes.
All right, to other news now. An all-civilian team is visiting the International Space Station, and among them is Canadian entrepreneur Mark Pathy. Senior science reporter Nicole Mortiaro was able to chat with him today.
Stop. Go Falcon, go Dragon, Godspeed, Axiom 1.
So I want to ask you, I mean, last time we spoke, you were here on Earth. How do we really know you're up there? Can you give us a little spin?
I'll try. We're in the lab. It's a bit cluttered, but let's see what you can do here.
Awesome. I'm a little jealous.
You know, a few days ago, that flip would have left me incapacitated for a half an hour or so, but obviously now I can do it no problem.
Mark Pathy making his way onto the space station.
I think the hardest thing to adjust to is microgravity and learning how to navigate through these, as you can see, tight and cluttered modules and not smash into anything delicate or rip out any wires hanging around. And just getting used to that and the effect that it has on the body, pushing all the fluids and blood up to your head and sort of giving you this headache and all that. But it's all stuff that you get over and that you learn. The body adapts. It's incredible how quickly it does.
How is this for you? It's got to be a dream come true.
When you do have a chance to look out the window, it's magical. It's just indescribable, and the feeling you have looking out at the Earth from there and seeing the thin atmosphere around it and the complete darkness everywhere else. It's really mesmerizing.
Have you flown over Canada?
Yeah, we have flown over Canada. We've done a few passes kind of coming in from the west over Vancouver, across the prairies and down over a couple of passes over the Great Lakes, and it's great to see home from this far away.
So cool.
Wow. Well, from the challenges of space travel to the dangers of sea travel, it was on this night in 1912 that a distress signal went out 500 kilometers southeast of Newfoundland.
1,500 people died when the Titanic went down. Among the books, films, and memorials remembering the disaster is a collection compiled by an Edmonton man.
Yeah, let's take a look.
I'm Wayne McDonald. I'm a Titanic historian. I've been collecting materials and items related to Titanic for over 65 years. My outfit that I'm wearing was given to me by the Royal Canadian Navy. It is a copy of the uniform that Captain Smith wore aboard the Titanic. The Navy gave me the captain's hat, and the White Star Line badge was especially prepared for this costume. We're celebrating the 110th anniversary of the maiden voyage of Titanic. We've brought together a collection of Titanic memorabilia and historic items. We have a pair of shoes from one of the survivors off the ship, and they're in wonderful shape and are an example of 1912 shoes. I wanted to be able to illustrate that back in 1912 there was a first class, a second class, and a third class, but also to kind of reflect that all of these things relate back to actual people, and that they were impacted by this horrendous tragedy that occurred. It's not only a tragedy, there's great heroism, there's cowardice, but there's this whole sea of humanity that you get to watch and unfold, and lessons to learn in terms of human behavior. And as a result, I can honestly say, in all the years of me speaking on Titanic and raising money for nonprofit groups, people love to hear the story Titanic.
Oh, we're heading into the long weekend. Let's find out who's celebrating. Happy 56th anniversary to Elmo and Lottie Quinlan in Lewisport. Happy anniversary to Junior and Rowena Jackson. They've been married 53 years. And happy 69th anniversary to Job and Sybil Blackmore in St. John's. 60th anniversary greetings going out to Francis and Linda Verge. They live in Triton. Happy 62nd anniversary to Arthur and Hilda George of Port Union. And happy 59th anniversary to Hubert and Violet Sampson from Peterview. Happy 50th anniversary tomorrow to Mary and Bill Byrne in Marysvale.
Happy 59th anniversary to Lloyd and Audrey Thomas, who now live in St. Paul's River in Quebec. Happy 51st anniversary greetings going out to Larry and Evelyn Han. Happy 56th anniversary to Wendell and Jerry Coffin in Joe Bat's arm. Congratulations to Albert and Winnie Deer in Holyrood as they celebrate their 50th anniversary today. Happy 56th wedding anniversary to Richard and Emma Parsons. They're from Hare Bay and now live in Ontario. Happy 59th anniversary to Woodrow and Dora Hibbs from Peterview. Their big day is on Sunday. Happy 62nd anniversary to Bud and Susie Rose of Hermitage.
Happy 54th anniversary to Dawn and Nina Bannister in Clarenville. Happy 60th wedding anniversary to Finley and Yvonne Wareham from Ladle Cove. Joe and Ruby Fifield of Valleyfield, Bonavista Bay are celebrating their 55th wedding anniversary. Now to some birthdays. Happy 91st birthday to Bill Bartlett in Carpoon, and thanks for watching Here Now Every Night, Mr. Bartlett. Happy 90th birthday to Harris Morris Sr., who lives in Cartwright. Happy 90th birthday today to Teresa White from Tickle Cove, and happy 90th birthday greetings to Fred Gill in Botwood.
Happy 92nd birthday to Beulah Cuff in Gander. Happy 92nd birthday also to Milligan Chapel from Virgin Arm. Happy birthday this Sunday to Marjorie Rousel. She's celebrating her 90th. Happy 94th birthday to Martin Roach of Middle Cove. Happy 96th birthday to Cyril Pope from Stone Cove, Fortune Bay, now living in St. John's. Happy 91st birthday to Hilda Lane from Buckins, now living in Grand Falls, Windsor.
And happy 94th birthday today to Minnie Anstey from Deer Lake. And 97th birthday greetings tomorrow to Clara Reed from Bishop's Falls. She loves to bake and do puzzles. She's doing one there with her 13 grandchildren, that puzzle.
Wow.
Happy 90th birthday to Alan Billard from Carbonear. And happy 102nd birthday greetings to Elsie Higdon from New Harbour. Her big day is tomorrow. She lives in Whiteaway.
Well, congratulations, everyone. We do have some nice weather in the forecast for the weekend if you're planning on celebrating, but there is a bit of snow as well, and that will move in Friday night into Saturday. And here's a look at that right now. Mainly central, western, and northern peninsula will see that snow, as well as parts of Labrador. You're looking at about 5 to 10 centimeters of snow, but we could see some pockets of higher amounts. But the rest of Saturday looking beautiful, temperatures climbing. So you're not really going to see that snow stick around, which is good news. Temperatures well into the double digits, 11 degrees for Marystown, same thing for St. John's, and again, lots of sunshine. Well, some sunshine peeking out, I should say, into the afternoon once those skies clear. And then up across Labrador, some showers possible, though, as you head towards central and coastal areas, and that's because those temperatures will be about 6 degrees, so that should end as that. Now, as we head through into Saturday evening and into Sunday, things will get a bit more unsettled again. The first half looking okay, except for eastern areas of the island. We are looking at the potential for some showers. Eventually, we'll see increasing cloud across the island, and then some more shower activity expected through the most of the evening hours and the overnight as this next system rolls through. Up across Labrador, your temperatures will be generally above zero, except in the west, where you'll see your temperatures hover around the 0 degree mark. But again, temperatures back up above zero, rather into the double digits, between 10 to 12 degrees, a little bit cooler as you head towards the west coast, but generally looking at an unsettled day on Sunday. Now, for the rest of the week, or the rest of the long range, I should say, those temperatures as we get into Monday and Tuesday are going to drop back down. So unfortunately, looking at the potential for either showers or flurries through the afternoon for St. John's and eastern Newfoundland, and your overnight lows will dip below zero as well. Now, for central Newfoundland, you're looking at a similar cool down for Monday and Tuesday, a bit more sunshine possible for Tuesday for you in central Newfoundland. Western may see a few peaks of sun as well, but generally unsettled until we get there for sure. And then for eastern Labrador, by the time we get to Monday, those temperatures are going to dip back down. Tuesday back up again, but you'll see some sunshine in play. And then western Labrador, you're going to see the potential for some flurries, but that will move in later on Tuesday. And note, Sunday night, Monday night, temperatures dipping back down to the minus double digits overnight. Now take a look at this shot. Great morning sky in Whitburn. Love when it's nice and sunny kind of in the morning. Linda shared this great shot with us, and if you have any weather photos that you would like to share with us, send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Yeah, see the top of the trees.
Yeah.
Looks like a painting.
It does. That's exactly what it looks
Yeah.
like.
Lovely, Linda.
Those colors.
Great job.
So are you two all set for the long weekend and Easter?
Yes, I'm kind of still thinking about the fish and chips that we saw earlier in the show.
so
That
delicious.
looked pretty good.
It's always so mean when they do that to us during showtime.
Yeah.
You guys are all eating supper, but we're not.
Yeah, soon. We're almost there, almost there.
Almost there.
Pity us. Pity us.
Well, we mentioned earlier that Here and Now won't be on the air tomorrow, but we will have a 30-minute show on Monday. So hope you can join us then.
Hope you can. Have a great Easter weekend. See you
night.
next week.
Good night.